Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Kamil Hakimi. So in this beautiful occasion, for my final assignment, I want to introduce one of the method that we call active learning method, which is this method. I want to explain two strategy: storytelling and fishbowl strategy. So without further ado, let's begin. Okay, the first strategy is storytelling strategy in teaching English as foreign language. The first one is definition of storytelling in language teaching. Storytelling is a communicative teaching strategy where teachers or students use narrative or real or fictional to practice language skill. In an English as a foreign language or EFL classroom, storytelling is more than just reading a story aloud. It involves the action, construction, delivery, and sometimes creation of story to enhance learners' abilities in speaking, listening, reading, writing, and even vocabulary and grammar acquisition. When students are asked to tell a story, whether about a personal experience, a cultural legend, or an imagined adventure, they use English in a meaningful way. Storytelling naturally requires learners to organize ideas, use sequencing words, apply grammatical structure, and use expressive language. All of these skills are fundamental to becoming a fluent English user. So there are four benefits when we use storytelling strategy in classroom. The first one is improve all four language skills, and then builds vocabulary and grammar naturally. The third one enhances memory and retention. And the last one is encourages creativity and imagination. And then increases confidence and motivation. Then we move to the how to implement storytelling in an EFL classroom. So I want to explain step-by-step guide to using storytelling as a teaching strategy. The first one is step 1. Choose the right story type. Decide whether you will tell a story yourself or as a model, or have students retell a known story, for instance like fairy tales, or have students create their own story like personal stories, fictional stories, or cultural stories. And then you decide the level of difficulty should match your students' proficiency. Start with simpler stories for lower levels. And then step 2. Teach useful language. Before students start telling stories, introduce or review helpful language such as sequencing word first, then after that finally, and then past tense verbs, descriptive vocabulary, dialogue phrases like he said, she asked, or etc. This helps students feel more prepared and confident. And then the third step is prepare the story. Have students brainstorm their ideas, provide a story map or outline template with prompts like who is the main character in your story, or where does the story take place, and then what is the problem or the challenges, how does the story end. Then allow students time to write, draw, or rehearse. Encourage them to practice with a partner first. Then we move to the step 4, storytelling time. In this step, students will be asked to share their stories. This can be done with one by one in the class, in small groups, or paired as a chain story. One student continue another story, or as a story circle where everyone contributes part of the story. You can also record the storytelling for later review and feedback as a teacher. Then we move to the second or last strategy, fishbowl strategy in teaching English as foreign language. The definition of fishbowl strategy is a structure or an interactive discussion strategy often used in language teaching classroom. The name fishbowl comes from the arrangement of seats during the activity, where a small group of students sits in a circle in the middle of the room, like fishbowl in a bowl, like a fish in a bowl, while the rest of the class forms make a large circle around them. The group in the middle is actively engaged in tasks such as discussion, debate, role play, or interview. The outer circle will observe the interaction closely without interrupting. The benefit of fishbowl is, the first one is improve speaking and listening skill. Second one, build confidence in using English. The third one, encourage active participation. Then the last one is foster peers learning and collaboration. The last one is adaptable to various topics and level. Then how to implement the fishbowl strategy in the EFL classroom. Step 1. Prepare the topic and the task. Choose a relevant and engaging topic that matches the student's language level and interest. For example, should mobile phone be allowed in schools? Or is studying abroad better than studying in your own country? Or what makes a good friend? And then give students some pre-test preparation such as vocabulary brainstorming, reading a short article, or answering discussion question in pairs. And then we move to the step 2, set up the seating. Arrange seats in 2 circles. Inner circle 4 until 6 students. The student will be the first to speak, while the outer circle, the rest of the class observe the discussion. If the class is large, you can create multiple fishbowl groups that rotate in turns. And then step 3, begin the discussion. Start the timer, usually 5 until 10 minutes. The inner circle will discuss the topic in English. They must listen to each other, respond politely, and stay on topic. The teacher can guide slightly if needed, but ideally the students take ownership of the discussion. Observers listen and take notes. You can give them specific things to observe, such as interesting vocabulary use, clear arguments or opinions, grammar mistakes, or nonverbal communication. And then step 4, switch roles. After the time is up, invite a new group of students into the inner circle. Repeat the discussion or continue the same one if it's deep enough. Ensure everyone eventually gets a turn to speak. And then step 5, reflect and give feedback as a teacher. Once all groups have had their turn, guide a whole class reflection session. Ask questions like, what did you learn from observing your classmates, or what vocabulary or phrases stood out to you? What speaking challenges did you face, or how can we improve next time? Also, you can give language feedback on pronunciation, grammar, or sentence structure using examples from the activity. So I think that's all from me about introduce the method. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.